The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. That
Oh
was
God, man, that's crazy.
my favorite series.
You are now entering preFORM. Prepare to perform. A podcast created to explore the inner workings of high-profile performers. Conversations reveal what separates them from the average human. Buckle up. My next guest is the senior mental conditioning coach at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. He utilizes evidence-based mental skills training to serve student athletes and coaches. His mission? Help others develop into the best version of themselves. He completed graduate studies in the field of kinesiology at the University of Tennessee, concentrating in sports psychology and motor behavior. He's also a certified mental performance consultant through the Association of Applied Sports Psychology. Let's just say this guy is next level. Without further ado, here's my conversation with the one and only Michael Urban.
It's a unique situation how I found this field and makes me kind of believe in my purpose more because I got here this way. But, I grew up in Northwest Indiana, about 30 minutes outside of Chicago. And I grew up in a family of teachers and coaches. My dad was a high school basketball coach for 25 years. My mom was a teacher. My dad was a teacher. My oldest brother's a basketball coach in Indiana now. So our family's just teachers and coaches. And that's kind of how I grew up and played 4 sports in high school. So I played football, basketball, baseball, and golf, and ended up getting, I had 5 concussions in just under 2 years. And this happened like towards the end of my junior year. So going into my senior year, they were like, yo, you're done with everything but golf. And I was like, obviously took that really hard, but, I was like, okay. And went through some tough times then, and obviously struggled. And, when you're growing up with all your friends and everything, you play sports your whole life and it's your senior year and you're like watching from the sidelines. It's just,
Right.
It's tough. And you go through where you want to go to college. And I think that's where my journey into sports psychology started. I had no idea what it was at the time. I had no idea that it existed. So I wasn't quite sure. And I did my undergrad at Florida Gulf Coast University, and I spent 3 years working with the basketball team there. And one thing I knew is I just loved being ingrained in a team. Like I wanted to be, even though I couldn't play, I just want to be around a team. I want to be around a unit. And, my first job with Florida Gulf Coast was as a manager. And it started with literally like wiping up sweat when people fell and leading the country in rebounds every day. Like you're grabbing thousands of boards, rebounding for guys a day. I'm like, man, am I Dennis Rodman 2.0 or what? So, and doing that in my mind was like, it was hard. Like it's hard to do that and come in and say, okay, like this is your role. And there's just like, if this is what the team needs to be better, and this is what the coaches are asking, like, I'll be the best wiper in the country. Like I'm gonna be the best rebounder in the country. Like this is what I got to do to be a part of it. I'm in.
Right.
And ended up working my way up to doing a lot of their video work my senior year and helping with more of the scouting and those things and with guys. So it was good to kind of progress through that. But what happened? So I did resort and hospitality and tourism management. That's what I started in for my undergrad. It's like, oh, it sounds good. Florida Gulf Coast was like a top 3 school for it,
Yeah.
and did 2 internships with it and realized this just wasn't where I wanted to be. And so this is where the story gets a little weird, right? So my roommates, 2 of my roommates at Florida Gulf Coast had went to IMG previously and played basketball at IMG. And they kept saying, or I'd just be talking to them and kind of boost them up, more the motivational guy, like let's listen to this. And they kept saying, they're like, yo, you're like our mental coach. You're like our mental coach. And I'm like, bro, there's a mental coach. Like never, like what are we talking about? And they were like, yeah, we were at IMG. We had this guy that was our guy. And one of the guys was like, hey, I'm going to put you in contact with them. I was like, oh, that'd be fantastic. And at the time it was Josh Lifrak was the guy that was at IMG, and he just went to the Chicago Cubs. And so I had a phone call with him. I remember I was staying outside my apartment halfway through my junior year on a phone call, like 45-minute phone call. And he told me all about it. And I hung up the phone. I was like, this is it.
Yep.
Like, this is what I've been looking for. Like, did I just invent sports psychology? And, like, am I going to be on a yacht here soon?
Maybe.
So went literally the next day and talked to my advisor and changed my major to psychology. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do my undergrad in psychology. I'm gonna do a master's in sports psychology. Took 9 credits that summer, get caught up. I still got done in time. 18 credits my final semester of senior year just to get it done. I was like, I want to go. Yep, this is what I want, man. This is what I'm doing. So and stayed in contact with him, and then applied and ended up going to the University of Tennessee for grad school. I'm not sure if it's made its way there, but people say Tennessee's the Harvard of the South. So I mean, dude, I'm trying to get that trend going.
War Eagle.
yeah, good SEC rival. But and ended up going there, and just even like a smaller thing was my best friend growing up was a baseball player, and he was playing in the Chicago Cubs organization at the time. And so he was playing AA, which is out where I was at. And so he then hooked me up with Lift Rack as well. So then I would go out to the AA games and meet with him and just kind of keep the connection going and the conversations going.
Wow.
And I knew, from when I changed my major and what I was doing is I wanted to be at IMG. I wanted to work at IMG, and I wanted to be in sports psychology. And, even further, which is really, really ironic, my advisor at Florida Gulf Coast that I changed my major with, that I met with all the time, he got a job at Tennessee and was my advisor at Tennessee when I was there.
Seriously?
At grad school. So just weird.
What?
Yeah, weird stuff, man. Like
wild.
Weird stuff. Yeah.
Man.
So that's a long-winded journey, man. Sorry.
No, I love it. Before we get into IMG though, I want to go just a half a step back to those influential days of, wiping the sweat and getting the rebounds, but more specifically, those video sessions. Do you feel like now the work you're doing at IMG, do you ever think back on how that could have given you a lot of early training before you even got into grad school and learning more about the applied side, just watching athletes from that standpoint?
Yes, absolutely. No doubt, watching that and just, you're cutting film for 12 hours a day. Like, this is what you're doing. Like, you're cutting film, you're doing scouts. People need highlight tapes. People, coaches want different clips pulled. And, so you're watching that all the time. And number one, it helped me with a deeper understanding of basketball. And I felt like my basketball knowledge was good growing up in Indiana and, with my dad and brother being involved in the game. But then being around guys like Coach Dooley and those guys at that level, it's like, man, I didn't know anything about the game. It's a whole different level. Like, I remember one of the first practices, I was listening to him and he stopped the play. And I was like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, God, I look good, man. We're going to be good this year. Like, just looking at one play. And Dooley rattles off like 10 different things that he saw in that play and what's going wrong and who was here. And I remember sitting there, I was like, how did he see all that? Like, what are we doing?
Exactly.
But just watching that. And what's interesting now is a lot of my one-on-one work with the guys is that at IMG with the basketball program, we'll go into huddle and we'll watch clips and we'll pull clips. Like, what are you thinking here? What would you want to be thinking here? What's going on? Why did you respond this way after the situation? I think just knowing more what to look for in films and then being able to talk to the guys about it and, and then send them clips of how maybe guys in the NBA respond or how guys in college respond. It's like, hey, you're going to play here. This is how they handle the situation. Why can't this be you right now? We talk about those events. So I feel like that gave me such an advantage to my work now.
Well, what's really interesting about this, I mean, you have a background in 4 sports in high school, 2 of which you are now coaching at the mental conditioning level, but they're very different sports. You have basketball, a team sport. You're relying on 4 other athletes on the floor, plus your entire bench and your coaching staff. Golf, you're out there by yourself. Can you speak to what that's like working with athletes from a team base versus an individual base?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big shift, man. Like, even for me, the way I walk into the gym and the way I interact with those people is way different than the way I walk out on the course. Like, it's a different environment from when you start walking in. And we do a lot of team stuff with basketball. We guys want to be close, want to be connected. You got 5 people, 1 ball. What team scores more?
Right.
And but you go out to golf and it's so interesting. I've started all of our individual conversations with guys, and a lot of them have asked, they said, well, what's different? Like, what do you work on in basketball? Like, what do you, what do you do there, and what's different for golf? And the hardest thing with golf is they're so critical of themselves, and they have so much time to think about it. When you're actually walking the fairways or walking the rough, if your ball's over there, walking into someone's backyard to pick that up, be like, my bad, I hit a provisional.
Yep.
It's so different, and it's so funny because we're trying to put them in a team environment a little bit. Like, I just came off a session right now, and we put them in groups of 2. We wanted to do more like a Ryder Cup format and get them thinking, because they had just experienced that. And a kid hit a shot, and we were playing like, you got to keep it in the fairway. You miss the fairway, you take off, go touch a lap real quick and come back, heart rate up. And a kid missed a shot. He turned around right away and looked at his teammate and said, I'm sorry. And it was just like, why'd you say that to him? And he's like, well, because we're in a team environment. I said, if it was just you playing to yourself right now, like just you, and you hit that shot, what would you be saying? And he's like, oh, I'd cuss myself out. I'd throw my club. Like, it would be, whatever. And so, then we start talking about, like, why do you treat other people so well? And then what are you really saying to yourselves? And how can we switch that up for golf? And because you have so much time, and how you gotta be your own best caddy out there is what we talk about sometimes. Like, what would your ideal caddy be like? And you need to talk to yourself like a caddy's talking to you. Obviously, we don't have caddies right now, but just to start thinking about that. So they're very critical of themselves.
What is life like for a student athlete at IMG?
Amazing for a lot. I'm like, man, I wish my high school was like this. But so I'll speak to our basketball teams right now. They wake up, get breakfast 6:45, 7, and then they'll get into class for that whole morning, about 7:30 to 12. They'll get done at 12. They will go eat lunch. They'll go get their treatment, whatever they need, and then 1:30 to 3:30, they're doing strength and conditioning. So they'll be in the weight room, and they'll be out on that turf doing conditioning. And then 3:30 to 5:30, they'll practice. So we'll get in a full team practice. After that, they'll go get treatment again. They'll go eat food. And then we have open shooting time. So your shooting time might be like 8:00 at night, where you can come in for an hour and, guys just come get 200-300 makes in. It's very light, just working on making shots. Do that, go back, finish up your homework, go to bed, do it again.
Repeat. Yep.
It's a routine around here. Yeah. Repeat.
And so in regards to this basketball team, what's the season like? Are they playing other teams within their conference, within their high school district? Are they going and playing upper level teams in the AAU level? What does that look like as far as competition is concerned?
So for IMG, we don't compete in the Florida High School Association just because we are of the way we train in the schools. So we'll play a lot of local high school teams, but they cannot compete in a sectional or a state title, right? So with our national team, we just joined a conference, the NIBC, and that's got like the top 10 teams in the country. Wow. And you're going to play a 10-game conference schedule. We're going to have a championship. And then the ultimate goal for that team is to win a national championship. And so that'll be hosted by Geico, which is in April. And that's the top 10 kind of invite teams. And it's a gauntlet, and go win 3 games, and you're in a good position. So that's the goal for them. For our other high school teams, it's you play local high schools, you travel a couple of trips, you go play other really good high schools, you play in good AAU events. And you're going to get a ton of basketball games in, basketball games. Like we'll probably play 25, 30 in a season. And then in our spring, we go send like AAU teams out from IMG and go play. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the placement like for these student athletes as far as the next level is concerned? Are they, looking into collegiate sport? Are they going straight to international professional? Are they going into their national teams? I know they're from all over the world. So what does it look like as far as the next steps concerned?
Yeah, it's interesting. So we have about 80 countries represented, right, that come through, and so some of our guys go back and play for their country and go play professional over there after they're done. Some guys pursue the college route, and then some guys will pursue just an overseas deal if they can, or there's different leagues coming up that guys might go play in, but I think everybody's main goal, a lot of the athletes I work, main goal is to go to school and play basketball at the next level. And they don't, some care, but most of them are like, I just want to play college basketball. And it's, whatever level that looks like. And I think that's great. And you have your conversations about getting a good education that comes with it too, looking at where you're going to play and stuff. But they're they all work extremely hard, and they do everything they can to set themselves up for success.
So how does this model differentiate with the golf team and the individual golfers themselves?
Yeah, I think, so just even the way we set up mental, right? Like golf, or we do, excuse me, we do for basketball team sessions, and I'll do individual sessions with our guys like as needed. Our golfers, we have fewer group sessions, you should say,
right?
And then they're a lot more individual session based, right? Because everybody's kind of different, and that might look like, for me, I try to go over to the putting green and can we putt while we're talking? Can we chip while we're talking? You want longest drive competition while we're talking? Just get them in that environment and really try to represent more of the pressure and stuff that they'll be feeling in a tournament if you can get them in some kind of putting contest. And so basketball is more team sessions, more, if it's after practice, can I get them for 10 minutes? Can I get them, for 15 here? And then, we'll get in the classroom some, and then I'll run basketball drills on court with our basketball athletes to try to represent a learning environment for them and try to increase the mental skills application for it.
So clearly it goes without saying you have a lot of stuff going on. Your schedule is absolutely insane, Michael. What do you do to make sure that the Michael battery is charged so you're able to be of service to these athletes?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. And I'm trying to find a balance. This is going into year 3 at IMG for me, something that I worked on, but I've gotten really good. I've gotten better. We'll say better. There's room for growth there. I've gotten better at when I get home at night, I'll just put my work phone away, and I'll just all right, I'll touch it tomorrow morning. And the other thing is, and some nights it does happen where you're working till 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and you just got to get stuff done for the next day. But I'm trying to be a lot more intentional with, if it doesn't get done today, it's okay. I can do it tomorrow. The main thing for me is working with athletes and helping them, and that's why I do what I do, is to help people at a really high level. Like, I want to help them achieve things. I want to help them and be really effective in what I do. So I have to kind of accept that. The other thing I've been trying is weekends are weekends. Like, it's not trying to, it's so hard, man. I'm like, no, like, people want to schedule one-on-ones. Obviously we'll start, when we get in basketball season, it'll be different because we'll have practices and games and stuff. But like Saturday night, like, just don't touch anything. Just watch Notre Dame, watch the Bears on Sundays. Like, kind of do, you can watch Tennessee and, just try to do that stuff. And one other form of self-care I do realize is golf. I love playing golf, like just getting out there. I really feel like I'm just at peace out there. So if I can get out for a round or sometime, that's something I do. But it's an evolving process, and one that I certainly need. The hardest thing to do is say no. I think, I struggle with that. Someone reaches out to you, hey, can we get tomorrow? And I'm like, I got 15 open minutes in my schedule. Yep, come through. Like, this is like, there goes my only 15. It's just, you never want to not help somebody.
Yeah, diving a little bit deeper from the cognitive side, the mental conditioning side. I mean, looking in the mirror, what are some practices that you implement daily to ensure that, your service to these athletes is at the highest of level? What are you doing there?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few different things. I read a lot of research articles and I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I drive. My drive's like 30 to 40 minutes in each day, and then out, like, with the traffic and the snowbirds in Florida, like, it's a lot. So I listen to a ton of podcasts, and I get ideas from that. Like, that's where I get my ideas. And then if I'm watching games at night, I hear about different things, or I'll see different things. I'm like, oh, what are they thinking? How can we do this for us to make sure you kind of stay fresh? The other thing, I talk to a lot of coaches at IMG. I'm really close to our coach at IMG, but also in the college world, in the high school world, and just pick their brains and stuff. And they're just conversations on what they're thinking. And then, if I get an idea, I'll go see, all right, what can I do from this? What kind of research can we bring into this? I work really closely with a few people. We have a team of 11 people on our team. So to kind of bounce ideas off them and collaborate with them, we do 10-month performance plans to kind of set up the whole year. Here's where we want to go. And they adjust as the year goes, but just get different ideas from different people. So I work really closely with some people on our team, and they keep me fresh, keep me challenged. And hopefully I do the same for them. But yeah, those are different areas for me.
Well, I know at the outset you mentioned it's in your blood. Literally,
Yeah.
it's in your genetics, being a teacher, being a coach. And as you mentioned at the outset, you just got a promotion. So huge, tip of the hat there. I want to leave you with this question, and you can just drop this mic off with the audience. Where is Michael Urban in the next decade? Let's go out 2031. Where are you at? What are you doing? What is your primary, motive of communication and dissemination and coaching as a whole? What does that look like?
Man, what a question to go out on. I love that. That's something. It's evolved for me, right? It's changed, and I think when I first found out this field, I was like, I want to work with pro athletes, and I think a lot of people think that coming into the pro field, right? Like, you want to work with pro athletes, and as I evolved, like, I had some really good experiences at University of Tennessee. I coached basketball for 3 years there. I taught at the University of Tennessee, so I should say I coached basketball at a middle school and a high school there. I didn't coach at the University of Tennessee, so I want to
appreciate the clarity
through. But yeah. Let's not say I was an SEC coach or anything. However, I did teach a golf class at the University of Tennessee, so I always tell people, like, I coach golf at
there you go.
That's
legit.
Class. But and I started to realize, like, the impact you can have on people. I worked with youth athletes and high school athletes, and I was like, I love it, man. Like, I'm not, the pro stuff will happen when it happens, if it does happen. And I really got ingrained with, like, I want to be really good where I'm at. I want to work as hard as I can where I'm at. I want to be the best version of Michael Urban that I can be. And that's what inspires me. I'm like, much I love Tiger Woods, much I love Michael Jordan, I would never trade places with any one of them because I like me.
Yeah.
And I really started taking that mindset. I'm gonna work as hard as I can, do what I can to get there. And started at IMG with a summer internship to full time to last weekend promoted to a senior mental coach role. And when I think about the future, I get wildly excited.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Like, I love thinking about it. But I think my process of working as hard as I can where I'm at right now will set me up really good down the road. And one of the ways I've really implemented this is through the feedback and learning that I've taken from everybody here and at Tennessee. And, I think people like feedback, or they say they do, until they get something they don't like. Then they don't like it anymore. Then it's like, oh, wait, I didn't want that. Tell me how good I am. And I've gotten really good at trying to ask people from other departments, ask people, hey, what you think? Ask coach. I have exit interviews with a lot of our players at the end of the year. Like, what do you think about mental? Where are we at? Where can we go forward? And, I tell people, like, if I keep this process with all these great people I have around me and giving me the feedback and stuff, like, I like me a lot in 10 years. Like, I don't know, so,
awesome.
To think about, sorry, I got emotionalized, to think about, in my 10-year process, my goal is to help people at a really high level. And I mean that as like a really high effective rate, not necessarily the NBA. Ideally for me to get into a college realm, professional sport realm, I want to have the biggest amount of impact I can on people. And what inspires me about people, even in college and NBA and working in there is the platform that they have to reach other people. So I think now, like, if we can help people at that level and I can do my best work with those people, they can have an impact on so many other people. And at the end of the day, it's just, we're all here to help each other. And so hopefully that's in a position that I'm in 10 years, 2031, man, which it is going to be interesting. But yeah, some kind of platform to help as many people as possible. And I've always said to it at the back end of my career, I want to write a book and I want to be a motivational speaker. Those are my two things. Like, New York Times bestseller, check that off the list, and dropping out some speeches.
Man, there you have it. I mean, you could be like a spokesperson just for preFORM, talking about dropping a pebble in the bucket and watching that ripple try to change the world one step at a time. So I'm looking forward to it in your future. Where's the best place to follow your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can be reached on Twitter, Instagram at _Urban, which is URBAN 14. Or you can feel free to reach out to me through email. It's michael.urban@img.com. But I love connecting with people, love reaching out to people, and just anything I can do from there. But definitely Instagram, Twitter, email, or LinkedIn as well. Michael Urban, LinkedIn.
Awesome. And Michael, full disclosure to the audience, that's exactly how we connected, the infamous world of LinkedIn. Yep. So I appreciate your transparency and your willingness to be on the show, man. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, man. I really enjoyed it.
Are you ready to optimize? perfor Humans is the evidence-based approach to optimal performance, health, and well-being. The platform collaborates globally with a variety of high-profile performers, corporate executives, elite athletes, first responders, and military personnel. perfor Humans offers private consultation and live webinars designed for individuals, small groups, and large audiences. Visit perforhumans.com for more information.